Okay, Dory Friend here, and we just finished up the webinar. We had we had 1,000 people on it. That's why a lot of you weren't able to get on it. It was pretty good, but unfortunately, in half of it, my slides stopped showing, so I'm not going to show you that particular live webinar. I'm going to redo it right now, and it's just going to be no stress on me because there's not going to be 1,000 people listening to me. It's just going to be me and you, and I'm going to be showing you the slides. So this is part one. This was tonight. I'm going to talk all about off-page optimization. I had Ann Primazon on with me, who was helping me get through the questions that people were asking and stuff. And she's a colleague of mine, really super SEO gal herself. So if you ever hear about her or products, she's offering all thumbs up for her. Now, next week, I want you to be sure to sign up for that for the second part of this. There was just too much information for us for me to squeeze it in all tonight. And we have off-page factors now, and we have on-page factors. And Eric Lanchers is I think the most brilliant guy on page optimization post Panda that I have come across. He's got some really good data, and you're going to want to be sure to get on that webinar and listen to him, because it's not just about off-page stuff now, it's also about on-page. And you know what? I wouldn't have said that 6 months ago, but it's here, it's to stay, and he's got some good case studies and results of people bouncing back from Panda just from on-page stuff. So we're going to get in here, and we're going to get into the state of SEO and off-page. So the state of SEO right now. We all know that Google is pounding us with changes, and the old SEO doesn't work like it used to. And worse yet, it can be detrimental. Now, I just did a case study where somebody was putting up original content that somebody was doing reciprocal linking, which was okay years and years ago, but boom, now all of a sudden they have all these links going out to all kinds of different places, non-themed content, and they created themselves a link farm. And after Panda 3.3, that was no good anymore. So a lot of things we used to do, we can't do, and it's a detriment to us now. So on-page factors have dialed up, of course. Off-page factors have been dialed differently. And to get a perspective, I'm going to do a big picture kind of overview, and we're going to start with a bit of history. So history. Last November, there were numerous reports from bloggers letting us know that they'd heard Matt Cutts speak at PubCon, and he said that some of the web spam engineers had been loaned out on other projects, but since the completion of most, he's getting them back, and we're going to work on two big projects that they were set to finish up. So on January 21st, Google released a state of search type of blog post that dove into web spam. In short, they said, even though they have already made great progress, they have new efforts underway to continue and improve our search quality. And we're evaluating multiple changes that should help drive spam levels even lower, including one change that primarily affects sites that copy other sites' content and sites with low levels of original content. So, he also said some stuff about exact match domains. Google's blog post said also that the new classifier is better at detecting spam on individual web pages, e.g. repeated spammy words, the sort of phrases you tend to see in junky, automated, self-promoting sites. Okay, so then on January 28th, Matt Cutts further told us on his blog post that they had gotten approval to go ahead with all those changes, and boom, they did. So on February 7th, rankings started to rumble, and it sent SEO professionals, including me, into a frenzy trying to figure out what the heck was going on and what was causing these decreases in rankings of all these SEO sites. I mean, the shakedown became so obvious that it may not be just sites with low quality content being targeted, it also might be low quality linking on the list as well. So then, on February 12th, the JCPenney debacle was released to the world in the New York Times. Google reacted, and we all got caught in the backwash. Now, JCPenney was doing a lot of links, getting themselves to page one, and somebody said, "Hey, this isn't right for all these terms." They reported it and did a thing in New York Times, and Google started taking a look at it. But you know what? Did something just click in your head? All that stuff, that was in a blog post that I wrote last year in 2011, and it kind of sounds like this year, doesn't it? That's what's so frightening about it. And of course, all that was the approach to Panda 1.0. And the article networks were hit incredibly hard. I mean, Ezine articles took a nosedive. And they've not yet recovered from that, but they still do all the same stuff that they did. So, they haven't changed anything. The SEO community divided on the use of posting articles as an SEO benefit. 1 year later, now we are at present day, article network pages still don't appear on page one results as like they used to, but links are proving as beneficial as ever if they're used with the proper link density, and we're going to get more on link density in a bit further in the presentation. So, lesson one here, deja vu. 1 year later, the SEO community has taken another beating almost to the day. This time, it's the blog networks taking the brunt of the hit as everyone turned themselves in when Google sent out those dreaded, unnatural linking emails into webmasters' inboxes. We need to remember that this is the nature of SEO, and not to panic, blame, or react until the dust settles, because this happens over and over again. And here's the rundown of the last couple of months, though, as I saw it. So, lion, tigers, and bears. Oh my, 2012. Oh, it started, didn't it? With those unnatural linking emails from Google. Google sends out 750,000 linking notices to webmasters' boxes and scares the crapola out of even the most savvy SEOers, including myself. Webmasters turned themselves in, and the blog networks started to unravel. At first, we were presumed it was moles that were coming into our networks and figuring out what our sites were, but it's later consistently believed that SEO hosting IPs were the point of entry after webmasters' declaration of sites and services they used. Google does what is presumed to be a manual review and a massive de-indexing of sites used in these services started to happen. Google demands that webmasters get rid of unnatural links that are pointing to the sites, and the frenzy begins as webmasters panic and start their link removal campaigns. January 14th, another Panda 3.2 refresh. January 19th, new layout improvement. Tons of stuff going on. This affected if you had too many ads above the fold. Nothing so big, though. On February 7th, I launched SEO Link Monster with Brad and Matt Callan. By February 15th, we're noticing that a server of sites were de-indexed, and we get hammered in the forums for that. And we quickly replaced the sites, thinking it was just a bad batch of IPs. But here, this is when we're starting to see something. Then, Panda 3.3 refresh. Oh my God. February 29th. This refresh was the most dramatic since 1.0 in my opinion, and is when we really started seeing sites drop like bricks. I mean, everyone is scrambling to try to figure out what the value is. I even stopped development on an SEO course I was working on until I could figure out what's going on, and we're still working on that. We're getting closer and closer, but Panda 3.0 was 3.3 was incredible. Here's the type of slides that we were seeing on sites. Just all of a sudden, boom, they just kind of go down. Here's another one, boom, going down. Another one, down, So these are sites that I've been looking at and working with, and in different industries. Now, this site didn't go totally down. They didn't lose all their traffic, but you can see where they've lost quite a big deal of this. And this is a site in the logo design industry where they're using excessive amounts of exact match anchor text, so they lost in keywords, not in their whole site. So that's a little bit different, because Panda is normally a site-wide penalty or dial down. This happened before Penguin, so I kind of think the Penguin rolled out with Panda 3.3. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, March 10th, I noticed more sites being de-indexed, and we start monitoring and replacing so fast, and it feels like Google is playing whack-a-mole with me as they de-index everything that we were putting up. Customers quit in droves, and link removals requests start coming in the masses. It was not fun. On March 15th, Matt Cutts confirms on Twitter that blog networks are on the radar. March 20th, Build My Rank closes its doors, calling it a good run. Now, Build My Rank was, we thought, wow, how could that be? Because they have all original content. They were really strict with their users, but they were too de-indexed, and they closed their doors. So some more updates through March and April. Then we also had a negative SEO case revealed on Traffic Planet that was starting to reveal the possibility if you're using too many exact match anchor links at a site that the site's rankings would drop for that exact match term. Still some debate going on about that, but that came out, and so that was scaring people. Now, granted, this is all happening before Penguin on April 25th, so we're talking about too much linking, exact match linking. So negative SEO, I don't know, but I want everyone to know that the linking stuff happened before Penguin, and I think it was 3.3. Panda 3.3. So then Penguin finally did hit. The official date is April 24th. Is launched, aiming at web spam, and gives examples of keyword stuffing and link schemes. They create a dividing line between black and white hat SEO, and it becomes very apparent that anything other than making the site easier to crawl and putting good content on your site is black hat. For Matt Cutts, he says, we want people doing white hat search engine optimization, or even no search engine optimization at all, to feel free to focus on creating amazing, compelling websites. And I've also heard him say, let us do the SEO. Well, I don't know. It's hard to put up a site and trust that somebody else is going to do the work and get your site where it's going to be so you actually can make money from it. So, as Matt Carter put, you even know optimization at all? Yeah, right. And pigs may just fly one day too. I like that. I had to repeat that. So the aftermath. It's been an endless amount of outrage, reviews, analysis, and water cooler gossip about Google's new approach to SEO. I mean, this has really been a big subject. They've done more changes in the last 5 months than in the last 5 years. It's just been so crazy. There have been a couple of great analytical reviews that have revealed that excessive exact match keywords, in addition to excessive on-page optimization, are the major culprits of the dial down. So we're getting closer to that. But then this was really funny. Matt Cutts he makes a very revealing admission on May 10th. And he stressed again that Google said, like I said before, and I actually had never heard this, most of those 700,000 messages to publishers that Google sent out earlier this year, and this is highlighted, were not about bad link networks. What? I thought they were. I thought I was taking the brunt of it. I thought that's what it was all about. And then he goes on to say, nor were they all suddenly done on the same day. Rather, many sites have had both manual and algorithmic penalties attached to them over time, but weren't never revealed. So, not about bad link networks. That was pretty, shocking to me anyway. So even though the blog networks took the brunt of the blame this time around, you remember how the article networks took the brunt of the blame last time? Now it's the blog networks. Deja vu, remember, it all happens again. Article networks are still working. Blog networks will continue to work. But anyway, all those notices were not about the results of the blog networks. Wow. So this really got me thinking. But then it started to make sense. I mean, blog networks traditionally, and if done right, can't take on a massive amount of customers. I mean, I only had about 400 customers in SEO Nitro and SEO Linkfind. elite. So I knew my networks weren't the ones responsible for those 700,000 notices that went out. And I don't know about all the other memberships, but I think I would be surprised if all of us put together had a total of more than 5,000 customers. So there's some other stuff going on. And I'd put that two and two together a long time ago, but it didn't seem to matter. You know, the damage had already been done. I mean, we, the collective SEO industry, told on ourselves. And the unravelment of those incredible blog network ranking machines were thrusted into the crosshairs of Google's de-indexing committee. And we did not win. They de-indexed all of them. But here's the kicker. Not only did they de-index the sites, they demanded the webmasters have their links taken off of those de-indexed sites before any reconsideration would be done. Now, I scratched my head at this. Why would they demand links to be taken down if these links were on de-indexed sites that were dead, gone, forgotten? I mean, virtually rendered useless in the eyes of Google, right? I mean, isn't that a de-indexed site? I mean, except for the tattletale element, there was nothing really compelling about it. I mean, surely Google is smart enough to know when a link is on a de-indexed site, it is rendered useless, right? I mean, but the drill continued over and over again until we all blindly followed the piper and we took down links and then finally entire networks. Was that a mistake? Well, now I would never want to open up the can of worms or even suggest that de-indexed sites can still have some sort of relevance in Google. I mean, that would be ludicrous, right? I mean, wouldn't it? And I certainly don't want to get into any debate over it. I'm still incredibly sore from the forum bashings that I took and the hate mail I received. I actually got hate mail when Google de-indexed all our sites, and people blamed me for the loss of rankings. It was a horrible time. But I'm going to say this. I do have people in my lineup and in my networks that want those links de-indexed or not. I thought that was pretty strange, right? I mean, why would they want it de-indexed? I thought it was pretty strange until they showed me the examples of sites ranking for amazingly hard gambling keywords with the majority of links coming from de-indexed sites, but blog roll links on de-indexed sites. I mean, blog roll links. I haven't even given blog roll links any credence over the years, but I saw it for myself. These blog roll links were on de-indexed sites, and this site was ranking for a major gambling keyword, and those keywords are hard to get. These guys are very incredibly competitive. I did some analysis on that site, and I'm going to show you right here. The sidebar, you know, he has all these links, 12.6.2 links from the sidebar, which is, of course, is like a blog roll, and then traditional blog roll links are 28.40. I mean, that's a shitload of sidebar blog roll, you know, links, and the majority of these were on de-indexed sites. So that got me thinking some more, and then I thought to myself, well, it is true. You know, whenever we suffered partial de-indexing in the past, it never correlated with a drop in rankings. And we have, you know, it's natural to have a blog network de-index attrition to be about 5 to 10%. You know, and when it's higher than that, we've had some other major de-indexing, not total ones, but major ones that never correlated in the drop of rankings. So I thought, well, if it wasn't the de-indexing of the networks that made a lot of these sites, no. So what if it wasn't the de-indexing of the networks that made a lot of these sites drop? I mean, I was among everyone that thought the rankings dropped through those months because the blog network users, I'm sorry, let me say that again. I was among everyone that thought the rankings dropped of the blog network users because of the loss of links derived from the mass de-indexing. I mean, if the site was de-indexed, the link was as good as gone, right? I mean, it was still there, but it was useless, right? I mean, that's what we all thought why everybody was dropping during those months. We thought it was because the blogs were de-indexed. But what if, just what if it was actually a loss of links from the networks taking down the links at the customer's request in combination with the exact match keyword dial down that we were seeing and everybody's reporting on? Then I wondered if Google still crawled de-index sites. So this got me thinking, maybe it wasn't the de-index sites, maybe it was because we were taking people's links down and we were taking the networks down, and that in combination with people having too much exact match anchor text was what was causing this dramatic shift in February and March. So of course I wondered if Google, still crawled de-index sites. So I took some of my sites. Here's a snapshot of one where I'm showing that it is indeed de-indexed. It's not in the index. And for you newbies out there, to do that, you can just do the parameter of info : and then your site. And if it says sorry, no information is available for that URL, that means you are not in Google's index. So my site just crashed. Okay, sorry about that. My PowerPoint presentation just crashed, and that's the kind of stuff that we were going through in the live seminar. So that's why I'm doing it over. And let me find where I am. Google Spiders got me thinking. Google Spiders. Okay, I was right here where I was showing you that the site was indeed indexed. And then the next thing I do is show you, come on, move. I'm clicking on it. Come on. Click. Usage statistics for that site. And guess what? Google still crawls de-indexed sites. That's right. Site after site, I got these statistics that Google comes every day, all day. Google still crawls and spiders de-indexed sites. So, wow, that really shook up my head. I was like, okay, if Google's still coming to the sites, then there's gotta be some link juice coming out of them. So this made me start digging into some money sites that had recently dropped in rankings. So what I found was that in the sites that I looked at, every single one of them had a higher dead link percentage. Now, it's important to note a dead link is not a link from a de-indexed site. It is a link that is no longer there or the site is not available. Now, this is important for me to repeat again, probably. A dead link is not a link from a de-indexed site. A dead link is a link that has been deleted. It's no longer there because maybe the site's not there. Maybe the site is bringing up a 404 error. Maybe the webmaster took your link down. It's a dead link is when somebody reported that there was a link there. The software went to go find the link was not there. It has nothing to do with whether the site was indexed or not. But the sites that I looked at that had been dropping had a very high percentage of dead links, meaning those links were taken down. And I have some graphs on that in a second. But first I want to say the average for the dead links for sites that are on page one is running around 20%. And anything over 40% that I found was not on the first page at all for the respective keywords. And the ones that were over 70% of dead links were not even the first 100 page, in the first 100 results for their respective keywords. So those were kind of like general stats. So here's 3 case studies that I did for this. And each of them is in a different market, and each had used blog networks, some more than others, but they had all dipped their toes into it. So here are some affected sites. I have case study 1, which is in the markets. It was actually in the markets crafts. 74%. These guys totally dove. The page 1 site, look, it had 18% dead links. This is the dead links are in the blue. Now again, we're not counting links from de-indexed sites. The software program that I used did not score for that. So we're just talking about links that Open Site Explorer thought were there. The software went and checked, and they weren't there. They were no longer there. So case study 2 is in the moving industry. Moving, not movie. And it fell 100 spots, and look at 76%. When the average over there, the sites that was on page 1 was 21%. Case study 3 was logo design. Now this site had only fell to the bottom of the second page, It has about, it has a 43% when the sites on the first page have about a 19. So all these 3 affected sites that I looked at had a high ratio of dead links. Now, so what's all this mean? I don't really know, but if we have a site that's ranking in the gambling industry that left their links up from the de-index sites that have dropped because they took those de-index links down, okay, we have a site in the gambling industry, they left their links up from the de-index sites, and then we have sites that dropped, but they took all their de-index links down. They did what Google said to do, but they dropped. People who didn't say what Google did to do are still, well, this site anyway. I don't want, I can't make generalizations. I'm just saying, in this one site in the gambling industry, it was like, oh my gosh. So I am testing that. I'll come back with different tests. I have a network of de-index sites, and I'm going to use my own site to test that and see if I can rank it for any other keywords. So the lesson 2 here really is don't panic. When something changes, you got to sit and let the dust settle before you go out and change everything, because you may be doing more harm than good. I learned a long time ago to take what comes out of the mouths of Google's distinguished engineers with a discerning ear. Things may not be as they seem, and then again, they may be. But we won't know for sure until we test it. Really, the only people that know are the people that work for Google. The only other thing we can do as SEO people is test it and make judgments and assessments on what our test results reveal. So SEO changes all the time, and a quick reaction may do you more harm than good. So now, with that said, I don't want you to leave here thinking that the dead links are the only contributing factors to the above sites' loss in rankings. That was just something that was glaring out at me, and I had to look into it further. But as I studied these particular sites and the competition that is currently on page 1 of Google for their respective keywords, in most cases I found the following PostPanda/Penguin off-page disqualifiers. So, 1, over 40% of their links were dead, as we just went through. Not de-indexed, dead as in sites that are not crawlable or somebody took the link down. I hope I made that very clear. We just went through that one. 2, social factors were lower than competition's. Now we know social factors are coming into play. This means not as many Facebook likes, shares, Twitter tweets, and Google Pluses and all that. Then there's 3, links were not diversified as much as the competition. I'm seeing a lot of directory, forum, blog world, footer, and sidebar links on sites that are on page 1 of Google right now. Go figure. I never would have thought I would say that. So, and also number 4, abnormally high. Now these are all disqualifiers. Abnormally high exact match keywords in what I have looked at is really hard to come up with. For a general number. It's hard to generalize, like say, oh, you can't have more than 10% or this or that. When I've seen it kind of all over the map, it really depends on your market and keyword. So it's important to do your competitive research, and we'll go into that in a bit. And number 5, lower amounts of onesie and twosie links. Sites generally get a lot of strange and varied links because no one links to the site the same way. If I was selling red apples, would everybody link to me as with red apples? They'd probably say, oh, get these great red apples. Oh, these red apples taste great. Or, visit the Red Apple site. All those kinds of different things, not just red apples. So what we're seeing is you have to get a lot more of these onesie twosie links, and I have a little trick on that I'll share with you in a second. So let's get into each one of these now. Social factors, and I'm going to get more into the case studies that I have. Social factors have finally become an SEO factor. For example, here's an example. This is case study 1, the keyword being model ships. And here, I hope you can see this, very low. This was our site. These were the other sites in the study, and our site, even though it was, look at page authority 59, it was doing pretty good. And it has some other things going on with it as well. But here, very low on social. It was not doing as well with Facebook. No Facebook likes, anything like that. So we need to get that social up. Here again too is in the moving company. I was working on 2 sites here. Look at, they have great page authority. This one had the most Moz trust, but doesn't mean it's ranking. You can have Moz trust, but doesn't mean you're going to rank. So you got to get all these factors working for you. And they had lower factors than the other guys that were ranking on page 1 of Google. And then my case study 3, logo design. Here, they did actually a very nice job on their social signals. And again, they only dropped to page 2. They didn't fully drop out of the first 100. So they have done very good on this. But again, they didn't have the highest Moz trust, but they have a lot of other things going for them. But then they did drop to page 2, and I think that's going to come up a little bit in our link anchor density. Right now, let's look at link type density. Now, let's say with this site, case study 3, for a moment, let's stick with that. As we look into the number one, let's look into the reason why sites tank. Let me say that again. Let's stay with this site in case study number 3 for a moment as we look into the reason number 3 why sites tank. Oh, that's reason number 3. That was, remember, 1, 2, 3. Yes. Now I don't know. This is the second time I've done this presentation tonight, so I'm getting a little tired now. Link type diversification. We can see that this site did a pretty good job as compared to the other 2 case studies. So this guy, the logo design guy, he did a good job with his link diversification. As you can see on these sites over here, the page 1 sites for each industry here, they all have a lot of colors going on over here. They have a lot of link diversification. That means they're getting links from their blog roll links, footer links, contextual links, blog commenting, all kinds of different placement on sites, different kinds of links. So this is really important. And the ones that fell 100 spots or more did not and had the highest rate of dead sites, dead links, had the lowest amount of diversity as well. So that was something else that I saw continually over and over and over again. So you want to get link diversity density. So link anchor density, and in every case, sites remaining on page 1 have a great deal of link type diversity, and I look a lot at these links, and believe me, they are coming in from low value sites. I guess I'm still on link type, and yes, I did look at a lot of these links, and yes, they are coming in from low value sites. And I hear a lot of the SEO gurus telling people to try and get rid of these low value incoming links. But I say, you know what? The internet is mostly made up with low value links, de-indexed included. So chasing people down to have them stop linking to you might not be, your best use of time. I'm just saying. So lesson number 3, low value sites make up the majority of the internet. The internet is made up with low-value links just by being the nature of the internet. So get links from all, i.e. from blog networks, article networks, web directories, forums, sidebar, blog roll, press releases, socials, Web 2.0, images even, profiles, comments, all of them matter. That's what I'm saying with the link type density. And yes, you need to go out and get those good authority links too, but probably not as many. Well, who knows how many you need to get. That's a generalization that I don't want to make because every market, every keyword is different. But wouldn't it look funny if you had only PR5s pointed at you? Just saying. So now we get to go into anchor text and look at disqualifiers number 4 and 5 because they kind of go hand in hand. This is probably the biggest post-Panda disqualifier, post-Panda, post-Penguin disqualifier. As in most sites, we will have researched, did not diversify their link anchor density. And we're hit hard this go around with the exact match dial down. Sticking to case number 3 now, this is the logo design case. Let's look at the exact match anchor text ratio for the term logo design in comparison to the page 1, the sites that are on page 1 right now. So here's my chart. Here's the affected site on the left-hand side, and you can see they have, their brand links, which is URL, otherwise known as naked links. They have a 6.60%. In some markets that's great. In this market though, look at the brand over here, the brand links, 35%, 28%, 26%. So right there you can see that they are lower than the sites ranking on page 1 for the term logo design right now. So here's the term logo design. They have a 25.43. Well, the site that was ranking number 1 at the time had a 20.63. That's pretty high, so they're kind of in the same range. This one over here, Snapname, had 8.2, but you know what? Logo Yes just dropped. I just checked. They're number 2 now, not number 1. So it could have to do with this. Logo, this one over here, 8.20. And this one here, they only had, 1% with the term logo design. That's because they have so many other things, so many other what I call onesies, Tuesdays. See this where it says other? Now, this other is pretty good. These guys, this is in the blue, others. But remember, these guys are ranking on page 1. This guy's ranking on the bottom of page 2. But I also want to note that he's ranking on page 1 for logo designer and winning logo designer, and these are keywords that he was targeting, but you can see that they have a much lower link anchor density. So I just wanted to show you that. And also look at down here, design image, alt images too, might be playing a role these days, because when he had only 1% of logo design in there, he has a whopping 15% in the alt image. So just interesting stuff. And let's go to, trying to click on to the next one here. Okay, case study 2, moving companies. So I had 2 sites that I was looking at in this market, and here are my 2 sites. Neither have, site number 1 had no brand linking at all. Nothing with their URL in it at all. They had great, a low from moving companies, 5.75, and a lot of other onesie and twosie links, but they had no brand, and they dropped big time. This site had just a little, I would consider that barely no branding at all. And a brand is your URL. So if my URL was doryfriend.com, I could use the anchor text I could use could be www.doryfriend.com, doryfriend.com, http www, the whole thing, or just doryfriend. Those are considered brand links. And here, he has lower value links. Their exact match are low, but he wasn't even linking. He was not even ranking on page 1 for these terms either. So that was the direct opposite of our case study in logo design, and I think it's due to the branding branding links. But you can see here, page 1 sites, they only had a 5.82, 1, 2, 3 movers, and this is a pretty big brand over there. So it depending on, it really depends on the market. So these guys don't have to get maybe the 20 to 30% that some of the others do. Although Mover Reviews has 24%, but 2 Men in a Truck only had 16. Moving companies, they had, for 1, 2, 3 movers, 13%. That's, maybe considered high, but it's not here. And it's interesting too that 2 Men in a Truck ranked for moving companies, and they had no matching links, exact match links going in it that just said moving companies. So you can see there's a lot of different things going around here. You can actually rank for not even using that link, but you've got to get other links doing other stuff. So it's all relative. So lesson number 4, everything is market keyword sensitive. So that's going to make you want to do your competitive research. I mean, this just shows that each market, each keyword is going to be different. And, I'm going to have to do research on each one to understand what it's going to take to outrank my competition in that area. So case number two was a little bit more difficult to do since I had 2 sites and different keywords, but I'm hoping that it provided some value as we looked at those case studies as a whole. And which leads me to case study number 1. Let's get back to model ships. And again, our affected site had virtually no brand links coming into it. It had nothing. And for model ships, it was 16. It was high. Well, no, actually, it was fine for equal to the sites that were ranking. Well, this site had 16.70, but that is also their brand. Model-ships, it was their brand, so they could get. Look at, even though it was model ships like that at 16.7, they're getting 23 and 30% alt images. There's those alt images again, but it was their brand, model ships, model ships, model ships. But their URL was model ships. So that completely works for them. And I'm seeing a lot of that. I'm seeing a lot of exact match domains getting away with a lot of really high exact match keywords because it is their brand. So there you go. This one was linking, and it again had no exact match domain links for it, but it had heavy branding. But this one too has heavy branding, and a lot of onesie-twosie links as well, and where we had no branding in our affected site whatsoever. So I'm not saying that this is the only thing that could be happening. There could be a lot of things. So we did shoot a lot of links to this and to try to get the brand up. Haven't this one. I have not been able to bounce back up yet. So we're going to try some on-page stuff with it. So like I said, there's a lot of things going on right now. There's on-page and off-page, and one size does not fit all. But lesson number 5 here, and I hope you got it, is to brand it. Link brand it. You're going to have to get links coming in with your URL, your brand. That's your URL's your brand. It's natural for branded links, URLs, to come into your site. I mean, just look at how many times I've done it in this article. Actually, I had posted this article and I was linking to my site, over and over again with URLs. And from what I just saw in these 3 case studies, it's now becoming more critically apparent and important, and in other case studies that I've seen as well. So solutions here. So besides the lessons that I pointed out along the way in this webinar, what are some solutions that can be taken for each of these disqualifiers? And that isn't to say that this doesn't take the place of great marketing, because it doesn't, and great, creating great content that people want to link to and like. I already know that. So if you are suffering from any of our disqualifiers, here's what you can do. But yeah, great marketing, great content, you can't beat that. So the dead link solution. Dead links, as reported above, we've gone through this probably more than we needed to, but replace links as fast as possible. Now, this is a touchy subject, since now, how can you replace links and not violate Google's guidelines? Well, you can't. So take this advice as your tolerance level will handle. But for me, I'm joining, multiple blog networks. I have my own blog networks. I'm joining other networks. I'm creating directories. I'm creating directory listings. I use directory maximizer.com, getting blog, and forum comments, profile links, all that kind of stuff is working. And like I said before, it's market and keyword sensitive. If your market and keyword doesn't necessitate you doing it in mass, then don't do it in mass. But if your market and keyword does, then do it in mass. So if your site didn't lose as many links, then just get a few, and you can be more selective. And maybe perhaps stop asking for your links to be taken down. Just saying. So social factor solutions: tweets, likes, shares, pluses. Ask your friends and family to do it. I do. Put out great content, ask people to share it and tweet. And also use an automated services like Social Adder. I'm not the social solution expert, so I didn't have a lot to add here. I'm sure there's other places you can get an automated services, but I like Social Adder. Link density solutions. Links from multiple sources and areas on the page. This is almost the same answer as for dead links. I mean, join blog networks, use Directory Maximizer for automated site directory submissions, post articles into the article directories, put out press releases. Pre-Panda Penguin, I would have said head over to Fiverr and get yourself some diversification, because they offer all kinds of links over there, Fiverr.com, if you're not aware of it. But I was kind of hesitant, because I don't know if Google's watching things over there, but I don't have any proof. It was just a gut reaction. But, I tried to do this negative SEO with Fiverr stuff just 2 weeks ago, and it didn't work. It didn't push the site down. It pushed it up, and now it's ranking #1 for the term that I was heavily having but I've spent probably $100 over there having thousands of links sent to this site with the same exact match keyword, and now it's ranking #1. So go figure. You got and it may drop like Penguin and Panda are they update, so it may drop. I'm just not sure about it. I'm not sure about Fiverr. Anyway, exact match densities, which means too much of the same keyword. So you need to do your competitive research, just like we did over there. You can find out what is too high in your market and keyword. And I use this groovy little tool called Link Detective to get all that research done. I'm also coming out with a tool that enables you to do the same thing. It's called linkdensity.com. It's not done yet. Link Detective is now taking, up to 10 days to get research back. So hopefully my programmers will complete this tool the next couple days. It's under construction, but you can still go there and get a really quick look at your anchor text, your exact match density keywords. So that's pretty cool because that is working. You can just put your URL in there and boom, it'll bring up your percentages for your top 10 incoming link anchor texts. So do everything I mentioned above about getting links, but brand. Be certain to get brand. And I'm not saying to put an exact match keyword out there right now unless it is in the same anchor text. Okay, this is what this means. I'm not saying, if you're going to go out and link for red apples, I would put, if your site is, say, Olive Oak, because that's a ranch, my parents' ranch, Olive Oak. Get red apples at oliveoak.com, or get red apples at Olive Oak. Olive Oak has great red apples, although we do olive oil, actually. I should say olive oil should extra virgin olive oil maybe be my keyword. Olive Oak Ranch has great extra virgin olive oil. So if I'm going to want that exact matched keyword, I'm going to put it in with my brand keyword right now. Just right now, this is what we're seeing that's working. So like for SEO Nitro, I do SEO training. So I have SEOnitro.com SEO training. So I hope you get the idea there. Onesie twosie links. This is links where anchors do not repeat in your link density profile. So search on Google for your keyword and scroll to the bottom and find what Google considers to be like family match keywords and use those. Go to the source and find synonyms of your keyword to use in your linking campaigns. Dang, my PowerPoint just crashed again. Okay, I'm pausing and I'll be right back. Okay, I bet that was a second for you. So onesie twosie links, and okay, let's get through here. I already been there, did that, the source. Oh, a sneaky thing that I do is that, when I do all that research on those competitors, well, I can look at their keywords and I can export that like a whole Excel file list of those other onesie twosie links that they're getting, and I can insert those into my linking campaigns. So I'm taking that whole group and then I'm putting it into a blog network and getting links just 1 or 2 links, like let's say extra virgin olive oil. So maybe it would be EVOO, which is extra virgin olive. Just all kinds of different links. I can't. My imagination just won't go wild on me right now. Hopefully you understand. But it's all the synonyms. It's all the things that the kind of terms that are being used in your industry. Collocates is like a scientific term for it. Cinnamon terms. One more thing worth mentioning is, this is the on-page factors are back and looking like latent semantic indexing has finally come into play. And even though I have some tests on it now, I have this guy who has done a ton of testing. I started out talking about him in the beginning. Eric I'm going to interview him next Tuesday, and he's got some stuff, some really, really great stuff. Next Tuesday night, so I'm going to show you the link in a second again, so you can sign up for that site. And if you're seeing this after it happened, then probably the video might be right below you. I don't know how we're going to do that. So anyway, he has on-page fixes for on-page optimization. So if it's not your links that are holding you back and it's your on-page, that we can get that fixed too. And your on-page has to be working good, and everything has to be in tidy order for your linking to have the most effect as well. There's just so much going on right now. I mean, it's just crazy out there. But let's talk about getting those links fixed first. So what's this going to take? In almost every recovery method that I've outlined, it takes links. And not massive amounts of links anymore, but using, links differently. So before, it was okay, they all came from the same anchor text in the same place. Well, we can't do that anymore. You need links from multiple referrers with a ton of branding links and a lot more industrial related terms that tell Google what you're about. Blue Mule, here's my example, Blue Mules, by not saying the exact term, Blue Mules. So let's say this again. I want Google to know that my parent site is about extra virgin olive oil without saying exactly extra virgin olive oil. So you're going to have to get a ton more links about that, saying those kind of different things. So this is where SEO Link Monster can help, and we're going to open it for the first time ever. It's been closed to new members since Google crushed us. We quietly replaced our sites and have been, we've been a workhorse for those people who stayed with us. They've been getting the benefit of all this. And for the first time right now, we're going to open it up to only the people on this webinar, or like you, the only people that are listening to this webinar. We're not doing a major launch. This is it. It went only out to Brad and Matt's list, and it's only going to go out to my list. We don't want to raise the flag of the Google people. So here's the place to go get it. SEOlinkmonster.com/webinar/special.php. I think I'm going to make Matt give me a better link next time. That has a bunch of bonuses on it. This is not a sales letter. Like I said, it's not a big launch. We didn't want to get attention like we did last time. You will have to sign a non-disclosure agreement promising that you will not reveal our sites or methods to anyone, especially Google. And please don't post anything, good or bad, in the forums. I got beat up so bad last time. I don't even want, even if it's good, I don't want Google to know what we're doing. I mean, yeah, they could be listening to this, but I think a lot of the networks got so much publicity in the forums that it became really on Google's radar. And I don't believe even, my larger networks, SEO Nitro or SEO Link Final Elite, were even on the radar until the SEO Link Monster launch, because that was pretty huge. We made it a ClickBank product, which it is not now, and we're not doing it as big as we had done in the past. And if you, let me put the sites to work for you. Okay, and oh, I get it. If you can do that, if you can sign an NDA and not, and just keep it quiet, then we're going to put our sites to work for you on your behalf. And it's going to help you, lowering your exact match link density ratio. It's going to help raise your brand URL link ratio and help you replace dead links and lowering your dead link density ratio. Now, We also put some bonuses together for you. Before we go over that, or actually, I'm probably not. You're just going to go to the link and you can see the bonuses. They're really, really good bonuses. Real deal things. And the one that's the beta thing, the 5 keywords, that's going into another huge membership site network. I mean, of real sites. It's a beta thing, and so you're going to get first crack at that. And we're writing content specifically for the new theme and the new type of post Panda stuff. So that's going to be really interesting and worth getting in just for that. Anyway, so let me get on here. So this is kind of like an article syndication network. You pick your market, and you're going to pick your subcategory. Your article gets placed on as many as 14 blogs a day or sites a day. It is considered black hat. Anything that is trying to manipulate Google's search results, as we are trying to do, is considered black hat now. There's no gray hat. There's nothing in between. If you go out and solicit links in any way, that is black hat. So just to let you know, I don't think there's any white hat out there, except for putting good content on your sites and hoping people link to you. And they do when you put good content. I'm not saying don't do that. You should be doing that. This is just extra stuff, because it's hard to just say, okay, I'm putting good content, everybody link to me. Now come on, Google, rank me. That's just not how the human psyche works. Anyway, I would consider this an entry-level system, and at this point, best practices would be to use this system to link with your brand and URL links and or combination of your industry terms. If you are afraid to link to your money site, and I know a lot of people are, then link to the domains you are getting what you consider natural links to and pump those up. And I have a little demonstration here. Oh, you can barely see this on the screen. But anyway, here's some sites, which I call buffer sites. Here's your money site, and somebody, here you write a good Squidoo post, or maybe somebody on Facebook said something and linked to your site, and you like that. Or you did a press release and it, made it to the Huffington Post or something, and that's going to give you some good link juice. Or you got an editorial comment on, somebody's blog. So you get all these really good natural links. So you can supercharge those links by linking to those pages that the link is on. So what that's going to do is make those pages beef up and be better, so the link coming into you is going to be stronger and have more quality and do its job even better. So that's another way that you can use a network like SEO Link Monster in a really great way. So the first people, the first 50 that get in get the bonuses, and there's the special again, and I don't know why it disappeared. There's the link. And then I also want to say, sign up for part 2 next week. You're not going to want to miss it. Eric Lanchers, I think that's how you pronounce it. I came across him, and I just was blown away at the stuff that this guy did. He's a young kid, like one of those geeky guys that studies the heck out of this stuff and has done some really good tests on on-page Panda results. And this has been tough because Panda was refreshing, so it wasn't like you made a change and waited for a day or two to see what happened. He had to wait a month to see if any of those changes happened. So he's brought all those together. He has a whole bunch of things to tell you, and I hope that you get on that seminar, because it's going to be really, really good, and it's going to be another basis of SEO. On page, we just went through the off page disqualifiers and things that I'm seeing. Next week, part 2 on page. Now, when we did the real webinar, we had questions after that. I'm sorry, since I'm doing this video, because the screen kept crashing in the last one. I'm not taking questions on this, but I hope you the best, and hope to see you on the webinar next week. All right, Dory Friend out.